Because it's fun.
Yeah, I wanted to get back together for some time, probably about halfway through the Dead Soul Tribe journey, is when I started to kind of miss these guys and wanted to do this again. And opportunities came up to initiate this, but it was like not really right for everybody. And now we finally reached this time. The stars aligned. Everyone's ready to do it, and so here we are. Yeah. The plan to get together initially was to do a new album. We were going to come out in 2012 with a new album and tour. And since I came, I was keeping my participation kind of a secret because I was doing the Shadow Theory, producing this album with what was going to be my new band. What still is my new band. I have this. But then I got asked to come back into the band, and I said, well, okay, let's do it, but please don't say anything right now. And when I finally, my label told me, no, go ahead, announce it, because it could help us, you know. So then I did. I announced it, and then boom, 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 email of offers, phone calls, including the one that got us on this. And Stefan Hattinger, who's running Rock the Nation, is the one who said, no, do a tour, do some footwork now, lay some groundwork, build a new fan base, and then make an album and then come out. And I can see that this was really good advice. So we are going to make more albums. We kind of stopped all forward momentum on the album temporarily to rehearse for the tour. But when these guys get back home, then they're going to start jamming together, and this new album is going to be on the horizon. I live in Austria, so I didn't really get together with them very often. But I would send Dan an email every once in a while. You know, we've been in kind of infrequent touch, but, you know, not completely silent. I think they've probably hung out a little bit in the time.
Yeah, I mean, we all lived close together, so like for most of us back in San Diego, it was pretty, you know, we don't hang out as much as we used to. Obviously, we're older and have more, you know, things to do, better things, more responsibilities, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not like we just went away for 14 years from each other completely. We're always in contact to some degree.
Seems kind of on a new high, you know. I mean, because we got the old fans, which of course have always had this enthusiasm, but now we get new fans that, like, in some cases they're people that have been too young to know the band at the time, but then have learned of us and finally got a chance to see us. And then there's this thing where we're playing with these other bands. People come to see Symphony X or Nevermore, and they hear us by accident and are giving us some very ecstatic compliments, holding both box sets of CDs in their hand saying, I've never heard of you before, but wow, this is... So it's been really awesome, and it's been consistently a nice thing every night. Kind of better than it's ever been, really.
Pretty much. I mean, there's no point in no point in using the postal system at this time. You know, we got the internet.
We're gonna, you know.
It's not much different how we'd used to do it. You know, they would get together and work out the songs in my absence, and then give me a cassette tape of their jam room recording. I would be in my bedroom, put that in a little 4-track, and write my part over what they've given me. So it's really not a different process now.
The only difference is going to be, like, we used to, like, when we got all done with it, we'd drive over to his house and we'd, like, all hang out, and then we'd go listen to it together, like, so I could watch him pass out. And I'm just kidding. So now we don't, instead of just showing him the file, he gets to listen to it by himself instead of, you know, maybe a little interaction going on while we listen to it. That's the only thing we're going to miss out on.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, we can Skype each other.
Yeah, right.
So technically we could.
Technically, we could still do it.
Skype you.
Okay. They rehearsed at the same old rehearsal place, and I just rehearsed on my own at home. And our first time playing together as a band in all that time was on stage in Stuttgart. That was it. That was the first time. It was like just thrown right into the fire.
We didn't even have a sound check at that point. We were like, are you serious? We don't even know if our gear works. We just got off the plane yesterday.
Play my own guitar. They lost
His
it.
guitar got lost,
So
yeah.
everything, you know. But as a musician, you have to do the gig.
The show went on.
Yeah, you have to do the gig.
Yeah.
And you're pros.
Eh.
Opinions vary there.
I hadn't actually played the guitar that you'll see tonight. It hasn't been played in 12 years. Hadn't changed the strings in 10 years. I changed them, but then I didn't play it. So I sat on there for a decade, and I was like, that's all right, you know. It still works, yeah. It was kind of a question of whether I was going to actually be able to learn how to play the guitar again, because I honestly didn't know. When you haven't touched something that long, is it like a bicycle? Are you going to just start up again? And some of it was. There's a thing we call muscle memory, where the fingers knew where to go, even though I wasn't paying attention to it. And then there was a lot of parts where I had to sit down with the, rewind the CD and skip back and repeat. Like, what did I do there? But yeah, it took us a couple of months to put this short set together, and we're pretty content with it. We're pretty happy. There's little mistakes here and there, but we used to do that even when we were in our prime, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, there was even a night backstage where they had to go over a solo. Which part are you playing? Do I play it like this or do I play it like that? And then they got, I think it's this way. I've been playing it like this that's why it's wrong. Okay, that's right. Let's do it now.
It's probably still wrong.
It's a new wrong.
We call those jazz notes now in our old age.
I chose to live in Austria for the same reason everyone from America chooses to live in Austria, is they fall in love with an Austrian woman. I had this girl in California for 2 years. Then we moved to Austria because she started just to develop a lot of problems that I won't go into, but needed to go home and needed the support of her family and other things. So I made this big sacrifice to move here, and it was really hard in the beginning, but we're long divorced, her and I, long divorced, and I have since now have a new wife who's from actually Moscow, but Austrian passport. And now we have children. I have now 4 children, and I would much rather raise them in Austria than in the United States at this point. The way things are going there, I just like it better here, especially for the kids, especially. For example, there's a lot more connection with nature. There's a lot more connection with like biological food and things like this, a lot more awareness and consciousness of these sort of things, especially in the community I live in. All of my wife's friends, they're all minded in this way, and it's all kind of about reconnecting with nature, and Austria just seems to be really on the same level in very many ways. And the social medicine is better. It's just better in many, many ways, but it's also safer, a lot safer, especially the way it's getting now. All these kids growing up wanting to be in gangs because it's cool and doing stupid things because they're young. I just like to keep my kids kind of away from that mentality, The high school that we went to, that Dan and I went to, is now, I hear that there have been shootings there now, and I mean things are just really going down and down with all this gang mentality and stuff, and I just don't want to be part of that. I don't want to raise my kids in the midst of that, and there's other reasons I could go on, but I won't, but I just suffice it to say I think Austria is better, especially when it comes to children. If I go to a supermarket or if I go to a doctor, I speak as much German as I can. And But at home, I don't speak German at all. My wife speaks Russian to our children. She speaks English to me. I speak English to our children. And they speak German to each other. They play in German. They want to know German because their friends speak German. They want to fit in. They learn it. They watch movies in German. They can speak German very well. My daughter's 9, almost. My son is 7 the day after I get home. Another son is 3, and now I have a 7-month-old daughter. She doesn't speak any language yet, but the rest of them speak 3 languages out of this. So, we're strong believers in just speaking the mother tongue at home. And German, that's a little hard for me. You know, German's a little bit hard. I even took a course, an intensive course, and I still don't have enough vocabulary to really hold a conversation, you know, but when it comes to asking for what I need, supermarket or what have you, I do my best.
Yeah, only because they say so, you know. If they didn't say so, I wouldn't assume that it was us that influenced them. But there's a lot of bands that have the same influences that we did, so we can't, you know, maybe they sound a little bit like us. I wouldn't say it's because of us, but because we had the same influences. And then there are other bands that, you know, they say right in their interviews, like, oh yeah, we listen to a lot of Psychotic Waltz. And so, yes and no. I mean, there's some.
I can tell you that the 2 main guys in the Shadow Theory that composed the music were huge Psychotic Waltz fans. So, yeah, you hear it a lot. I don't hear it in the music, but you hear it from the mouths of the people that say so. I think that it really is in terms of guitar players for the most part. I mean, I hear it a little bit about me from time to time, but I do think that it's mostly guitar players that have been influenced, as they say, by this band, and that they're the ones who you can easily hear it, you know. That's my take on it.
Well, of course, yeah, you know, that's kind of a warm feeling. Like they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if somebody wants to, you know, take our sound and, you know, go with it, that, you know, it should be as flattering to me as if I went up to, you know, any one of the guys from Black Sabbath and said, hey, you guys were one of my idols that, you know, I wanted to write music that reminded me of that and Pink Floyd stuff. And hopefully they would be flattered that, you know, their music inspired me to make my own version of what they did my own way. So yeah, it's a good feeling.